Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the True Heel Heat Sports and Entertainment review series of all of the Spider-Man movies. We have been moving through them with reckless abandon because there's so much to talk about in each one. There have been so many and such great moments, and those moments continued when Spider-Man rejoined or joined the MCU in Homecoming, in Civil War, and after the success of that movie, it didn't take long for them to announce a sequel, and that sequel will be titled Far From Home. And they brought in new people, new MCU heroes, as well as introducing some Spider-Man villains. There's a lot to talk about, and of course, we're going to break all of it down for you here on this review. Myself, Sid, Chase, how are you guys doing this evening? Chase, we'll start with you. Let us know.
Doing good. It's still too hot in California. It should not be 92 degrees at fucking 7, 8 o'clock at night. This is ridiculous.
And how are you doing over there on the East Coast, Sid?
It is also very hot here in New York City. I've been sweating all day, but I take showers because I'm clean, unlike some of y'all.
And it wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad here in Chicago. But there's a lot to talk about because this was a movie that, a lot of people expected more of the New York setting, and then we get this Far From Home title, and that could still take place sort of in New York, but then we get this announcement, or like start getting trailers that it's going to be outside of New York. So a lot to talk about. Let's get into it. But before we do, remember to hit that like button, comment, share, subscribe. Let us know your favorite parts of Far From Home. Let us know who is your MVP, your LVP, all of that fun stuff. And we appreciate the time that you guys spend with us. But Sid, what were your thoughts when we found out that this movie was going to be, outside of the confines of not just New York, but the United States?
It seemed fitting with the fact that this is not just, Spider-Man coming off of his last film, like we've talked about in the previous series with Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. This is Spider-Man coming off of 3 films now, or 4 films now, because the Civil War cameo, then it was Homecoming. Then between Homecoming and Far From Home, you get Infinity War, and then you get his return, his small cameo in Endgame. So we got to see him, get snapped in one of the most emotional scenes in MCU history. We got to see him come back at one of the most satisfying moments in MCU history, and now he's in a world without Tony Stark. So I think that it was a nice little kind of follow-up to keep him out of New York and have a new setting for him to explore.
How about you, Chase?
Shout out to Tom Holland, who spoiled that there was going to be a Spider-Man 2, even though Spider-Man was dead when they were deciding if they were going to announce there was going to be a Spider-Man 2. And he pretty much spoiled that, hey, he's coming back at Endgame. So shout out to you, Tom Holland. You spoiled Endgame for everyone some way, somehow. I'm surprised he hasn't spoiled this movie for whatever reason. Like he's so good at it. But no, I was cool with it. Takes Andrew Garfield's shine. I thought Andrew Garfield wanted to go to Europe and the UK with Gwen Stacy.
He's been literally bringing it up in multiple interviews on the press run and going into Brand New Day. They anytime I think they did a group interview with all the actors and actresses, and they talked about Sadie Sink, and she was talking about how she can't say anything about who she is in the movie and stuff like that, and you got to be secretive with this type of thing. And Tom was like, I know.
I think everyone knows who Sadie Sink is, and I don't think Tom Holland could spoil that. I don't know why they're keeping this a secret. Oh, she's Jean Grey. Oh,
it's it is one of the worst kept secrets.
You casted a redhead that has telekinesis powers? Huh? Who's that?
But that's one of the things that these Spider-Man movies have done is really add in characters from the MCU. Part of that is because of the contract that's in place, and they've also brought in people to play new characters. And so we have we're swapping out Tony because Tony's unfortunately no longer with us, but we're plugging in a new MCU hero.
You just spoiled Endgame.
I did spoil a 7-year-old movie.
You know what I hate when people do reviews and we're not going to spoil what happened in Endgame. I'm like, what are you talking about? This movie's old. Just talk about it. Like, what? It's some person's fault they haven't seen Endgame or Infinity War or any of these movies.
but they replace him with one of the stalwarts of the MCU, Samuel L. Jackson, as Nick Fury, and they also bring in Kobe Smulders, Maria Hill along the ride, and we also get the addition of Jake Gyllenhaal, who will be playing Quentin Beck, Mysterio. What were your guys' thoughts on these additional cast members, and we know we're going to get more interaction between Spider-Man and one of the more brusque, we'll say, characters in Nick Fury. Chase, what did you think?
Yeah, Jake Gyllenhaal actually, before it was Toby, he was actually being considered to be a Spider-Man at one point. So I thought I was like, oh, nice, a full circle moment for Mr. Gyllenhaal. I always liked Jake Gyllenhaal as an actor too. Like, he just has such a good acting face. Like, I'm just like, you know what? I feel good about a movie if he's in it. Samuel L. Jackson, I don't have any fond things to say about him in this movie. Oh my God, did you just show up with a check or what, buddy? Like, he did not care about because Nick Fury at this point, what does he even do? Like, the last time he was impactful was Age of Ultron, where he goes to Tony Stark in the Clint's barn. And he's like, gotta lead the team, Tony, and stuff. And Tony's like, you're right, I gotta do something different and stuff. And what does he even do at this point? But I mean, fine. I mean, if these are the actors you're going to get Samuel. But golly, this guy did not. Samuel Jackson's like Mace Windu in this movie. I'm just here. I'm Samuel Jackson.
Well,
okay.
I mean, you are kind of getting into a bit of like the idea about why Nick Fury is portrayed the way he's portrayed. Like, there is some subtle
I forgot about that
throughout the movie, but in that case, we could say Samuel Jackson's is doing an inspired performance.
Exactly. And I was gonna say that. That I feel like he committed to the role that he was in, that he had to have a somewhat lifeless performance because he's not him.
Here's a guy playing a guy playing another guy.
Yeah.
Oh my! I felt Samuel Jackson like, pay me how much? All right, I'll be there.
No, honestly, the funny thing is, I was reading the IMDb trivia. They didn't tell Kobe Smulders that she was not actually Maria Hill, like Maria Hill, until a week before the premiere. They let her do the entire movie, and then we're like, oh, by the way, you weren't actually you. And then she was like, wait, what? What do you mean? Like, I would have done things differently. Maybe that's why Sam was being the way he was being. Somebody should have told me. But yeah, there's a lot of interesting things that the way they try to connect this movie more with other happenings and other events in the MCU. So let's get into it. We start off with sort of a cold opening in Mexico, where Nick Fury and Maria Hill are responding to an attack, and they're trying to figure out what's going on. Something about a cyclone, people seeing a face in the cyclone. Maria Hill's like, that seems weird, and Nick Fury's kind of like, weirder than all the other things we've had. Like, the world has completely changed. And then we have our kind of debut of Mysterio. And Mysterio, he doesn't have a name, but he doesn't say what his name is, but he helps them to deal with this elemental, this cyclone thing that's happening. And so it's causing them to be like, all right, we got to figure out what's going on with this. And then we transition into like one of it's so well made in what it's aiming to do, but it's like an in memoriam video, but you like can tell it was made by high schoolers. And and so it's funny because like they're going through all the heroes that we have lost in Endgame or in the Infinity War and all that kind of fun stuff. And we head into this movie finding out that it's being called the Blip. For 5 years, people were gone, and now people were brought back. Some people who were, say, 10 years old at the time are now 15, but then there were 15-year-olds who were just brought back as 15-year-olds, and that's going to be an issue down the road for Peter Parker. We get to Pete. Actually, you know what? How did you guys feel about this sort of, not just like the introduction of Mysterio, but like the in memoriam segment and kind of like this explanation of we're going to call this the Blip now? Like, that's an interesting kind of term to use. Sid, how did you feel about the Blip?
I like that it was introduced by high school kids. I think that sounds very catchy, very very punchy. That's something that like kids, teenagers, hipsters would come up with. So I like that it was presented in that way. Love the section. It's one of the funniest of the trilogy moments of the whole entire trilogy. Just how it's made, so well made, feels like it's by a high schooler on a PowerPoint presentation kind of app system or whatever they use. And then the whole Mysterio introduction, I thought that was well done as well, because because we're watching it back to back, I'm like expecting the opening to not be like previous Spider-Man movies, but be like Homecoming, where we introduce our villain in the opening segment. So I thought that they did an inspired kind of choice of having him being presented as a hero, but then we would slowly get the layers kind of pulled back and find out what he's really about.
Yeah. Chase, what did you feel about this?
Yeah, no, I like the in memoriam because here's the thing: most people that went to go probably see this movie, they don't watch any other MCU movies. Spider Man is like, I mean, look at the box office this movie did. It's by far one of the most popular properties. I know Endgame was super popular, but some people just probably didn't go see it. So it was good for people to know like who have we lost in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and most of them probably didn't care that they've lost these people in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The blip, I like the idea of it. I always wondered, like, if I would get blipped, like, how would I feel? Like, would I be someone that would miss 5 years of my life? Like, I always wonder, would I get blipped? So it makes me think about that. But the Mysterio opening I like a lot. It shows Mysterio is not one of my favorite villains. Like he's cool, but like it kind of shows like, oh, look at the tricks Mysterio has up his sleeve. Like he's doing all this stuff against the Elementals, who are actual real Spider-Man villains and stuff. So it's like, okay, maybe Mysterio is a good guy. Like you're kind of thinking to yourself, like maybe he is like actually doing good things. Maybe there's a heel turn later on in the movie. So it kind of gives you that idea. And then once you realize like, oh, Mysterio's just really good at tricking you, it kind of plays into Mysterio's bit a little bit. So I like it.
Yeah, yeah.
Sir, wait. It's something that Chase said that stuck with me there.
What?
He said, I understand that Spider-Man is like one of the most popular superheroes of all time, but you literally said there might be some people that saw this movie that didn't see Endgame. Endgame's like the highest grossing movie of all time. Who didn't see Endgame?
Yeah, there's some people, man. I know someone that did not watch any of the Avengers and just watched the Spider-Man movies. And I'm like, you didn't see Infinity War? And he's like, no, I didn't need to. And I was like, okay.
They doing it wrong. They doing MCU wrong.
He's one of those people who's like, I don't know why he's obsessed with Tony Stark. And I'm like, well, because you didn't watch some other movies. That's why.
You got to tell him he's the little kid in Iron Man 2. You got to tell him.
I'm not telling him that. He's gonna be. You think I was pissed? Oh, he would literally probably like. He'd probably try to shoot me, to be honest.
But come hell or high water, even under threat of being shot, Peter Parker wants to use this summer vacation that the class is going to take in Europe, a science trip, to tell MJ how he feels about her. Now, this threw me for a little bit of a loop because when we left him in Homecoming, he had like zero feelings for MJ. Like everything was about Liz. And granted, Liz is, gone. Like she's been this, but then he was, in space, then he was not around, then he's back around. And it's like it felt a little jarring for him to suddenly now be like, all right,
I agree.
I'm going after MJ. It's like, you got it. Like, when did this happen?
And because it becomes so much of a presence and a large story plot thread throughout the movie, it's weak because of the premise in itself is not that strong to begin with, because what this movie needed is what we got in Homecoming. Is what Peter has done since Civil War. We got that at the beginning of Homecoming. We needed what's been Peter up to since Endgame. That's what we needed right after the introduction of Mysterio.
Yes.
Chase, how did you feel about like this sudden shift of his object or person of desire being from Liz to now MJ?
Yeah, it was so weird. There was no build up. Like he didn't even because like I was like, did I miss like a talking scene? Because like most of his talking scenes are in Infinity War. So I literally went back to watch Infinity War and I fast forward to where all Spider-Man was on there. Not one mention of Mr. Stark, I gotta see MJ after this and stuff like nothing. Like he's all like talking to Doctor Strange and Drax the Destroyer and the Bug Lady or Mantis, whatever her name is. Like I was like, he didn't bring up MJ at all. It just felt so forced. Like it was just kind of like, well, you know what her name is, so you gotta understand he likes her. And I'm like, what when he was in the blip, was there like a scene, even a scene of him being in the blip and he sees like an image of MJ? That would have been enough for me. I would have not loved it, but at least it would have been like, oh, maybe when he was dying, that was like the last person he saw, so he has some weird connection towards her. Nothing. It's like he just likes her all of a sudden, and it's like, why would you like this girl? She literally laughed at you in detention. She drew that you were gonna like. She was pretty much a bully to you the whole time. Like, I I get it. Maybe that's what you like, but shit, man. Like, I don't know. It just felt really forced to me.
So Pete is setting up this plan, or he's going over his plan with Ned. It involves him first sitting next to MJ on the plane, figuring out how to sit next to her. Then he's got a dual headphone jack so they can listen to music together. Then he's planning on buying her a Black Dahlia necklace because of the murder. And then he's going to give her the necklace at the top of the Eiffel Tower. And it's this whole thing that he's got planned to figure out how he's going to do this. And Ned is just like, that's really cool, but like, what if you didn't do any of that? And Pete's like, why wouldn't I do that? Like, isn't that? And Ned's like, Peter, don't you understand? European women love Americans. And Pete's like, but I like MJ. And again, this goes back to this whole thing about like, why does he like MJ? There's no explanation.
Exactly. I was like,
now what I do think is nice about this scene is also in the background is just like a collage of all these pictures that people have drawn or colored or whatever the case may be or created of Iron Man and Tony Stark. And I thought that was a really cool way to continually just set up this idea of the shadow of Tony throughout the course of this movie and the impact that his life had on Peter's, and also now the removal of that presence is going to have on Peter's life. It's fascinating because in Homecoming he was barely there, and now it's like he's with us even though he's not. It was a really, really well done thing. We get May and Pete at the homeless shelter at Feast, where May works, trying to help people deal with the blip, as well as just in general with various issues that they may have. Pete is there to be part of a fundraising event, and he's going to stop and take pictures with people. Happy shows up and is asking Pete, he goes, listen, Nick Fury's going to call you, and when he calls you, you need to pick up. And Pete goes, Nick Fury's going to call me? And Happy says, yeah, why wouldn't he call you? And Pete goes, if it was important, why would he call me? And it's a very, very high indicator of growth and maturity from Homecoming. Because in Homecoming, he was like, listen, you need anything, I'm your guy. Like,
he would have jumped at the chance to get a phone call.
There's a leaky faucet at the Avengers facility. You call me, I'll take care of it. You need sandwiches, coffee, anything, I got it. And now he has grown, both because of what happened in Homecoming, but then also what he saw in Infinity War and while he was in the Soul Realm and coming back in Endgame, that he understands there's going to be problems that are above the level of what he can do and what he should do as the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. He does get the call from Nick Fury, and he proceeds to hang up or decline the call. And Happy's like, did you just ghost Nick Fury? And so he tries to go out to meet with the people and take these photos, but he is bombarded by questions, and almost all of the questions in some way, shape, or form deal with the loss of Tony Stark. And a lot of them are asking him if he's going to be the next Iron Man. And that kind of sets up one of the questions of the movie. Pete continues to not answer Nick Fury's call. no matter how many times Nick Fury tries to call him. And he has to pack for this trip. He doesn't want to pack the suit, either of the suits. May is trying to get him. May is like weirdly encouraging him to take the suit.
And that was another weird of like,
this
how
is
did
why
we get from here to there?
This is why, like I was saying, when we get to No Way Home, like it doesn't make any sense to me, and it's just like it's the conversation that she's going to have and what she's going to encourage him to do in No Way Home. To me, is like it's just there for plot contrivance purposes. It's just there to make sure that Pete is convinced that he needs to do it. But we also get a reference to the spider sense, but here we're calling it the Peter Tingle. And what I did like about the scene was that it sets up something that we have seen in previous movies, or we know from the comics, in that the tingle or the spider sense does not go off if he does not view that person as a threat. Specifically, if he does not view it. If he didn't know the person and they threw it, that would be a different story. Like if it was an actual villain, it's absolutely kicking in. But because it's his aunt throwing a banana at him, it just hits him in the head. He is packing. We have a great little shot of the suitcase and the initials that are there, BFP, Ben Parker. And we are getting ready to go on this trip. So as we're getting ready to go on this trip, let's take a little pause. And what were your guys' thoughts on this Peter's plan to try to get with a girl he suddenly likes, as well as this interaction that he has with Happy? And we are already getting our information that Fury is going to contact him, and we know what it's about. Pete doesn't. And the questions about Tony, this overriding notion of, is the pressure on me to be the next Iron Man? Sid, we'll start with you.
Yeah, this is kind of like setting up the plot. We kind of see that Pete and May are on better terms after we ended the last movie with her discovering that he's Spider-Man, and now she's hosting galas and charity events with Spider-Man as the guest of honor. So that's cool to see that, how that's progressed. The whole Nick Fury calling Peter, you kind of knew where that was going to lead to, especially when they bring up that they're going on this whole trip, and you're like, oh, 1 and 2 together, they're probably going to go on this trip. That's what we're going to see. And we already kind of saw that in the trailers as well. And as far as like the Peter and Mary Jane or MJ, Michelle Jones, excuse me, MJ's love, it's like, dude, you could have gave us like a 30-second montage, like 30-second montage of them just texting each other and hanging out with one another and flirting and looking at one another. Like the only thing the last film established was that MJ likes Peter. We didn't get any indication that Peter liked MJ.
Yep.
Yeah. Chase, how about you?
Yeah, the Peter MJ love stuff could care less about this point. I was just like, this is forced. Aunt May, all of a sudden is okay with Spider-Man as long as it's for her purposes, which is kind of annoying. But I do like that. It is. Not in this scene, but they really did a good job with Marissa Tomei. They said, you're too attractive. Let's put you in ugly clothing the rest of this movie to make you seem like you're a grandma. And it does not work. She looks attractive no matter what you look.
Yes, she does.
She's an attractive woman. I'm sorry, it's not going to work. But I like that Peter was like, he does not understand why Nick Fury would call him because he thinks there's other important Avengers. But Peter, the Avengers roster is kind of slim. Thor is doing whatever else he's with the Guardians right now. He's still fat. Iron Man's dead. Captain America's old. Falcon's not trustworthy yet. Bucky, yeah, we're not trusting Bucky for shit. Come on, this guy betrayed us like how many times? Wanda is taking over a city right now, a small little village, and making them believe that it's her town with a fake Vision. You're the only Avenger that's reliable.
He didn't watch his own in memoriam video.
Yeah, exactly. You're the only reliable Avenger. and for Peter, it makes sense. So it's like, dude, I don't know if I'm ready for this responsibility. Like, not only did I see my mentor die in my arms, I saw him die, but I died. So why would Nick Fury call me? I don't want this responsibility. So I like that Peter was like, I'm not going to take any of the suits. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to answer Nick Fury's call because I don't want this responsibility right now. I just want to enjoy my summer trip and get with the girl that I like for whatever reason you like her now. But that I like all of that. Like I like how they built that up, where Peter is afraid of the responsibility presented to him, unlike in Homecoming, where it's like he would have been like, "Oh, Nick Fury, how's it going?" and like pretend he's talking to Nick Fury beforehand and stuff. So
yeah, and so there's this idea that he as he says to May, like, I just really need this vacation. I really need to get out. And you know, I kind of can get it. It kind of makes sense. And the idea that you had all these things happen to you, as Chase was alluding to, then on top of that, you had to come back. When you came back to regular life, you had to figure out what was going on with school and all that sort of thing, and figure out how you're going to get back into a normal routine, into a normal life. So maybe a break from that is going to be what you need. However, we get a series of unfortunate events as he's trying to get onto the plane and get into travel across the good old Atlantic Ocean. We have Ned trying to help him change his seat. We also get introduced to this guy who was a younger student, but because he did not get blipped, he is now in class with them, and he had a high school glow up. So now women are attracted to him, and Pete thinks that this guy's gonna try to steal MJ from him.
yeah, Jeff.
Yeah.
So he's like
that prick.
He's
prick.
he's
He
like,
takes
yeah,
people who takes pictures of people in the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, we got to figure out how to get this guy out of the picture. So he's trying to do all these sorts of things, and Ned comes up with the excuse of Peter's allergic to some perfume, and the teacher overreacts and is like, all right, we gotta move. We're gonna play musical chairs. Everyone's gonna you're gonna sit here, you're gonna sit here, you're gonna sit here. And what happens is the guy ends up being able to sit next to MJ, and Peter is stuck sitting next to the teacher. Now, again, this is hilarious because the teacher always throughout the course of this movie overreacts to things, but there is that in Homecoming when they were interviewing him after the Washington trip, he's like, I didn't want to lose a student on a trip again. And so it's like this,
His timing is so good.
It kind of makes sense why he's like, okay, listen, if Pete's gonna be allergic to perfume, I can't have him die on the plane. So I can't have
another one. I can't have another one on my name.
And so as a result, Ned is forced to sit next to Betty, and lo and behold, when they reach Italy, Ned and Betty are now dating. And Ned has one of the funniest little monologues or lines in this movie when he's like, when Pete goes, but why did you talked about bachelor life and all that kind of thing when we were single man life in Europe? And he goes, Peter, when I said those things to you, those were the words of a boy. And now I'm a man.
that boy met a woman. That boy's a man.
And the funniest part of this is that Pete's like, do you think that hey Ned, do you think that MJ and Jeff were sitting next to each other, and because they were able to talk to each other and hang out, they're gonna be together? And Ned's like, no, that's silly talk. Why would anybody do that? Oh, by the way, me and Betty sat next to each other.
She was like, come on, babe. He's like, coming.
I love this bit. I absolutely love the Ned and Betty bit. It's one of my favorite things in this movie. It's so high school. I've seen this happen in real time. When I used to be in this entrepreneur program, and there was these two people, and we're like, oh, they're going to get together for this 1 week, and then they're going to break up once we get back to school. It was like clockwork. Every single trip, it would be like they were like boyfriend and girlfriend. They would talk about they've been dating for a while, and then afterwards the trip ended, and then I'm like, hey, how's Amber? Oh, we broke up. Oh, sorry, Zane. That sucks. It was literally I'm like, I know this happens, but I love this bit, especially because Ned, it's so hypocritical. He's like, come on, bachelor life, European women love American men. I can say yes, they do. I don't know why. When I went to Europe, I was like, hey guys, I'm taken. Thank you, though. I appreciate you. You guys are all beautiful. But the thing is, I love how he sets this up, and then he falls in love with Betty on the trip, and then it's just he's now like this. Oh, it's one of my favorite bits. I love this bit. I know some people hate it. I love it. I think it's hilarious.
It's hilarious.
So funny.
the two of them throughout the course of this movie, like I
They're
appreciate the fact
so
that
good. They almost took
Yeah.
MVP from me. Like I was like, they might win MVP.
I appreciate the fact that like they didn't have that much for Ned to do this movie, so they were like, "What you do is gonna be hilarious," and he was
Yeah.
like, "Got it."
you are the comedic relief.
Yeah.
Everybody needs a comedian in a chair. But we get to Italy, and part of this is Pete going through customs, and they're like, "Hey, you know, something's setting off. Your bag's setting off something. You got to open it." And he's like, "There's nothing in there." He opens it, and it's the Spider-Man suit with a little note from May, like, "Hey, did you forget this?" And he's like, "God damn it, no, I didn't forget it. I left it behind." We get to Venice. Some great shots of Venice. They end up in a rather rinky-dink hotel, and not the best living conditions. Flash very upset, and Pete does do a little bit of exploring, and he's able to find the necklace shop that he's interested in. He finds the glass piece that he wanted because Venice is great for glass pieces for necklaces and jewelry. He buys it. Now, the other thing is that throughout the course of this movie so far, he has not talked to MJ the entire time. And then randomly, he is walking right after he got the necklace, and she bumps into him. And what was funny about it to me was I was like, there's zero awkwardness. He's not awkward around her, even though like this is the first time you're actually he's a little bit, but it's more like
he's a little reserved.
Where he was like,
she has a level of I don't give a fuck that just makes her so natural. And she just tells him about the new word
Sheila. Yeah. To me, it was like he's trying to hide the bag that he got versus like the more awkwardness beyond that. It was just like, oh shit, don't let her see that. But she does teach him about this new word that she learned in Italian. But throughout all of the waters of Venice, we start seeing these waves, these pulses happening. And it's like, what the heck is going on? And all of a sudden, some kind of water man or creature, something, rises up out of the waters, the canals of Venice, and is attacking everybody. And Peter is like, well, shit, what am I supposed to do? Like, I don't have my suit. It's in the hotel. I do have the web shooters. But a hero has arrived, and it's Quentin Beck. We still haven't gotten the Mysterio moniker yet for him, but he shows up and he is fighting this water elemental. Peter has to get involved, and Peter finds like a little carnival mask to put on to keep his identity secret. The two of them sort of work together. It's more like Peter trying to keep people safe, and Mysterio is the one engaging with the
trying to prove himself to Mysterio. He's always trying to prove himself to the other superheroes, and he's like, "Sir, I'm very strong and sticky."
And he's just like, "Cool, go be strong and sticky." And one of the things that's great is that Flash is like, we see Flash, and Flash is like, Spider-Man could take him. Like, it's gonna be like, come on now,
D1 blazer for Spider-Man.
Mysterio is able to defeat the water elemental, and the group is saved. The people are saved. They get back to the hotel. He is talking to Aunt May, and Happy, he finds out, is with May. And this is the other kind of thing that the storyline that we're finding out is about Happy being romantically involved, at least in his mind, with May. And I don't know what's like what May is just like to May is just like it's a fling, I guess.
Yeah.
But for Happy, it's a little bit more serious. And we find out that they are going to be leaving Venice because of this attack, and they are going to be headed to the Eiffel Tower the next day. So, what did you guys think about when they got to Venice, the purchase of the necklace, all that kind of stuff? Like, he's getting there, he's getting one step closer to getting his plan, but now this water elemental is attacked, and our real kind of introduction or debut of Mysterio, seeing him really in action. We saw him for like a breath of air in the opening against the Cyclone elemental, but now we're seeing him in full force. Chase, we'll start with you.
Yeah, the MJ Love stuff, I'm just going to be honest. Most of it, I'm just going to say, all right, cool, it happened. Like, I'm not feeling this right now. Like, it's not Betty and Ned. A lot of it is it just feels so like, this is like the part of the movie where I'm just like, man, why are we going so later scenes much better, but these earlier scenes, it just feels like we just need to build up the love tension in the movie. Like that's what I feel like it is. We forgot to mention about Tom Holland as an actor from the last review was that he is like really good gymnast, parkour person and stuff. Like he's willing to do his own stunts. He did his own stunt for this scene right here, and I was impressed with his athleticism. I will say Tom Holland is a pretty good athlete. I really do enjoy this as a first set piece. Once again, Mysterio comes in. This is when I kind of knew I'm like, oh yeah, this is all fake. Mysterio's faking it. Like that's when I was like, come on, it's Mysterio. Like this is his whole MO, faking it. I just wanted to know how he faked it. Like I was like, what's between the tricks for this one? Because this felt so real. I was just like, man, this is pretty good for Mysterio. Because Mysterio, it's like a lot of smoke and mirrors and stuff, but I like how Mysterio is being presented so far because it makes me feel like this is how Mysterio should be presented, where it's just like you don't know what's real, you don't know what's fake. It's just like it's super good. So I like how they present it in the beginning and stuff. No Peter Tingle. If he had the Peter Tingle here, I think he would have cracked this case in the first act of the movie. Wait a minute, that's a big water person. You're not a real, but for the plot, we can't have the Peter Tingle right now. Because I guess he doesn't view Mysterio as or we don't know if it's Mysterio, Jake Gyllenhaal's actor, as a threat at this point in time. So, but I do like how they present Mysterio here because it's just so Mysterio. It's on brand for him. So yes, very good. Yeah.
What were your thoughts, Ed?
A lot of good stuff here, especially with the set, like Chase said, with the set piece. It just comes off like very big, especially because it's the first one of the movie, and you get the water involved. You're destroying property. You got the boat that goes into the building, and all the panic going on. Peter doesn't have his suit, but he has his web shooter, so he's still able to help out and do his part. Him holding up the pillar so it doesn't hurt anybody was a nice little moment for Peter. I was like, he had a freaking concussion for how many times his head hit that bell, and just I was like, that is a concussion, sir. You have a concussion because you're not in your suit, so you can't. There's nothing protecting you. But yeah, this was nice for Mysterio setting him up as the villain. But I like the fact that they kind of presented him where he is, making his own illusions, but presenting himself as the hero. So I thought that was a nice little twist to kind of see when they would discover that he's the real villain. Because I think us as viewers all knew that watching this film, but it was up to Spider-Man and the rest of the characters to figure that out.
Yeah, I think this movie does a great job with Mysterio painting him as a hero because it's a movie. You can kind of retell someone's story. You don't have to go based off the comic book lore. Like a lot of times, especially with Dr. Octopus, Peter and Dr. Octopus never have a relationship. They literally meet each other when they in the comics and they fight. Like that's literally their relationship. But in future media, like Spider-Man 2, like reviewed, Spider-Man PS4 that we played, John, Doc Ock is Peter's hero. Peter loves Dr. Octavius, and then he becomes Doc Ock. So it makes a turn hurt even more. So if you wanted to go down the route of Mysterio actually being a hero, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, yeah, he's a Spider-Man villain, but if you want to go down the route of him being a hero,
he could be a hero turned bad.
Yeah, exactly.
For whatever reason, maybe he gets jealous of Peter, whatever the case may be.
Exactly. Yeah. You could have it where he is like, oh yeah, he was a hero. He's a hero in the Europe area. Like, of course, right. Like I totally would have been okay with that if they went that route in the movie and stuff. Yeah. So yeah, like that's what I feel they do such a good job. Because even on my rewatch, I was like, man, yeah, they do a good job at making me like actually like Mysterio as a hero in this.
It is true. It is true. It's not until like really as the viewer, like really until the bar scene that you know that what his true intention is, and then you're like, damn it, he got me.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I like it. That's why the score went up a little bit. I was like,
that's why, like for me, I'm watching it and I'm thinking to myself, it's like, well, I know something has to happen with Mysterio. Even if I didn't know from an out of movie or out of universe perspective of like who is on the cast and whatnot, like just the knowledge of Spider-Man is just like something's got to happen with this guy. Something's got to happen in order to get him to be on an opposing side of Spider-Man. And the way that we can do something like that is by getting a little bit more information about him. But in order to do that, unfortunately, Ned has to take a little bit of a nap because Peter and Ned get back to the room. Peter's in there first, and lo and behold, Ned gets shot with a tranquilizer dart. Pete turns around. Again, no Peter Tinkle told him someone was in the room. And it's none other than Nick Fury. Nick Fury's like, why is a 16-year-old child not answering my calls? What the fuck? When I call, you got to answer. May not be the first time, but I've at least called you like 6 times. At least on the 7th time, pick up. Like, it's just getting insulting. And so Pete's like, okay, I guess we can talk, Mr. Fury. So he is taking him to a base or a section that they've set up shop, and he also gives Peter something from Tony, and it turns out it's a pair of glasses. And Pete's like, cool. He doesn't exactly know what it is yet, but what I thought was really funny was that Nick Fury goes, heavy is the head that wears the crown. And then like just looking at him, he's like, I didn't know if you get that reference because it's not from Star Wars, which I think is hilarious just because it's Mace Windu saying it.
Yeah,
that part is funny. But we are introduced to Quentin Beck, who says that, or as he's being introduced to Quentin Beck, Peter hears from Nick Fury, you would think he's from Earth, or you'd think he's from your Earth, but he's not, which is one of our clues in hindsight that is not Nick Fury, because Nick Fury would have said from our Earth, but he's saying from your Earth.
Yeah.
But Mysterio or Quentin Beck is saying, I'm from Earth 833. This is Earth 616. And Pete's like, multiverse is real. What the fuck? Oh my God. Like he's like getting all nerded out. And Fury's like, hey, can we focus on the task at hand? And,
well, no. Beck is the first one who says like when Peter's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, man. It's just so fascinating." And he's like, "Never apologize for being the smartest person in the room,"
which is also a good indicator of Quentin Beck's characteristic and his personality, because a normal, well-adjusted person would have said, "Don't apologize for showing your intelligence," versus smartest guy in the room. Like there's that we're starting to get. This is actually a very important scene when it comes to information that we will need or that'll be relevant down the road. Yeah. One of the other aspects of this scene is that we find out that these are all these elementals that have showed up on Earth 833. They caused a whole bunch of damage, and now they are here. We don't really get too much of an explanation on how they got here or how Beck got here from Earth 833. There's really not that much. Like they kind of just move very quickly over it. Potentially another, like every story has a plot hole. And we find out that Pete is being asked, and asked we're using lightly, loosely, to go to Prague, where the next elemental is, and they anticipate the elemental is going to arrive based off of the pattern of what happened at 833. Pete goes, listen, I have to get to the Eiffel Tower.
he's like, I got this girl, and I'm on this school trip, and I'm supposed to be on the trip, and I know, you got other Avengers. You can ask other Avengers for this. I'm just not your guy.
Yeah, and he's asking about them, and he goes to Thor. He's like, don't know where he is. He goes to the next person. I don't know where he is. And he says Captain Marvel, and Nick Fury goes, don't invoke her name, which also a little weird. Why would you be so like? Now, like, is it maybe because of the history that Nick Fury had with Carol from the 2019 movie? Maybe, I don't know. But could it also be the fact that this is not really Nick Fury? Potentially, that could also be the case. So we have Pete, who is turning down the mission to Prague, and he gets back to the hotel and finds out the next morning they're not going to the Eiffel Tower. They are not going to France. They are instead going to Prague because the tour company reached out and were giving upgrades for everything. And they were like, we're just going to help you guys have a much better trip. And the teacher was like, let's do it.
It's an upgrade.
It's
Free.
upgrades. Let's do it. I mean, they were in a rinky-dink hotel. So they get out to this bus, and lo and behold, the driver of the bus is one of the SHIELD agents that Pete was introduced to the night prior, and they're all going to get on this bus to head to Prague. What did you guys think about this scene from Ned being drugged, Nick feared this interaction? We get all this information. It's a little bit of like an info dump, but they do keep it moving pretty well, and everything just kind of flows together. Pete turning it down, and now we know that Pete is getting redirected. He's being forced to go to Prague. When is he going to give this necklace to the woman that apparently he has loved since he was like 4 years old? Don't quote me on that. Sid, we'll start with you.
Yeah, this is another good portion of the film. Them with Pete getting the offer to work on this mission, and then basically just forcing his hand. Nick Fury basically kidnapping this poor kid. He just wanted to just spend some time with the girl he likes, and he just said, "Nope, you got to be Spider-Man." So yeah, it's kind of the common thread that we see in all these Spider-Man movies is the struggle with Pete to balance, his social life, his real life as Peter Parker, and being Spider-Man. So we kind of see it in a different perspective here, where Nick Fury says, "Nah, you got to be Spider-Man." So here you are. So yeah, that was fun and a nice little setup for what we would see moving forward.
Chase, what were your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I like it. It's a nice little backstory of who Quentin Beck is. Like pretty much like just showing that, like, okay, yeah, this guy's evil. He's like making this shit up. There's no way that he knows this multiverse and stuff. Like, how do we get into the multiverse? When Thanos snapped the stones or something? I guess you could believe it, but you kind of know this guy is like, he's pulling Peter's chain here, and he's pulling Nick Fury's chains here. I put Nick Fury in quotations for a reason, because we know it's not Nick Fury. And stuff, but it's still Samuel Jackson acting. So, yeah, it's fine and stuff. Fun fact: Earth 833 is the home of Spider-Man UK. That is the universe of Spider-Man UK. So shout out to Spider-Man UK in this movie. His universe dies in the Secret War. So, and then he's left to not. He's left to just be in the Spider-Verse as we know it, or he does something. But yeah. He's the only hero in Earth 8332. There's no other heroes worth a note or something. I try to do my research on the different Earths, but at least we know the Marvel Cinematic Universe is the main Earth that Marvel kind of goes with, Earth 616.
Which is funny in and of itself, because I think it was either Dark World, or actually it was Dark World. Eric Selvig is doing the multiverse theory, like it's really introducing it, and he labels 616. However, they do have a Earth designation for the MCU in the actual, like in our world, and it's like Earth 1999999.
Oh no, that's in the multiverse for Doctor Strange.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Like, it's interesting that that they're referencing it as 616. Selvig references it 616, but in our world, it's Earth 199. So it's fascinating to see that back and forth. But Peter decides to figure out what is going on with these glasses from Tony, and he opens the case to take a better look, and he sees a note from Tony telling him, for the next Iron Man, for the next Tony Stark, I trust you. And he puts on the glasses, and I mean, like, they look exactly like you would expect Tony Stark's glasses to look.
Yeah.
And immediately biometric scanning goes off, and we find out that it's not just a pair of glasses, it's actually an uplink to the Stark security database that allows the person to have pretty much unilateral control over everything. And why Tony would leave this in the hands of a 16-year-old, I don't know, but he did.
He loves him.
But he did.
He
didn't tell Rhodey about this. Didn't tell Pepper about this.
Yeah.
Tell anybody
Okay,
about this.
if I'm Rhodey and I hear about this, I'm like, really, Tony? You couldn't trust me? Like, what?
It's like if you still look like Terrence Howard, he would have trusted you, but not
Yeah.
apparently.
Don Cheeto, you can't trust.
We do get a fun, all of Tony's inventions and AIs and things like that usually have some kind of acronym. Here we find out that the glasses and the system, the uplink, is called Edith. Even dead, I'm the hero. Classic Tony Stark. And so Pete's like, all right, cool. Like let's figure out what all this is going to do. When they stop like a rest stop, and everybody gets off the bus. As Pete's getting off the bus, the driver goes, no, you go over there. Now, earlier, Pete had explained to Fury and Beck and to Maria Hill, one of his issues is that if everybody saw him in the Spider-Man suit, they would put two and two together, especially after the Washington Monument situation.
Mm-hmm.
And they'd be like, all right, well, and that's smart because he was like, Vulture put two and two together, and he was he was just happened to be listening to a conversation that Liz was saying in the backseat of the car. So very valid point from Pete. So the guy directs him to go to a different section of the rest stop. He gets in there, and it is a European woman who's like, take off your clothes right now. And he is very confused, trying to figure out what's going on. And she says, no, it's for this suit. Like, you got to try this on and let me know. And at first he's like, I'm sure it'll be fine. She's like, no, you need to change now. And so while he's doing that, the asshole, Brad, that he doesn't like, accidentally comes in there and is like, oh shit. And what does this guy do?
Taking a picture of him with this really attractive woman. Asshole.
Starts taking pictures. And now Pete's like, all right, we got to figure out how to deal with this. Luckily, I have access to everything. And so he puts on the glasses and he's like, let's start trying to hack this shit. And inadvertently, he calls down a drone strike on this kid. Now, the interesting thing about this is that the drone, I don't understand how exactly this Edith system and all of this is calculating this, because it's like, wouldn't the system realize that the user of Edith is in the vehicle? Like, he could be collateral damage, like anything. No, it's just like, guy called a strike. We gonna drop a missile. We're gonna do something. We're gonna blow this kid up. And Pete is forced to because of the conversations that are going on in the bus, he's unable to cancel the drone strike in time. He himself has to fight the drone. He is successful, but it reinforces that
he knocks out Flash in the process.
Which I thought was funny. Yeah, because Flash is just like, when he comes to, he's like, oh, where am I? But we get through this. Pete he's like, oh God, like I didn't get anybody killed, thank God. But it reinforces this idea that, like, sometimes Pete's got to be a little bit more careful with what he does and what he's doing, and just, eyes on the prize. We get to Prague, and
he does successfully erase the picture from
He does successfully erase
Jeff's phone,
because instead of just being like, hack the guy's phone, he's like, we got to take him
target.
He
said he's a target.
He's a target. Yeah, he said the wrong words. This is Peter being an idiot.
Yeah,
we get to
Peter does that a lot in this movie.
Mm.
I will very quickly address those last couple of scenes. The scene with the lady, asking Peter to take off his clothes. Like, I know most of us are men, and most of us are like, yeah, you do that, Peter, yeah. But this is a grown ass lady asking a 60-year-old.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of creepy.
There's something that's very creepy. I think that this one scene is the reason why a lot of people feel like this is the weakest of the trilogy. Still being the weakest of the trilogy, it's basically the AEW redemption of movies, where it's still a good show, but compared to the other two movies, Far From Home, that's why it looks like that. Like, if it was based on every other superhero movie, Far From Home would be in the upper echelon. But because it's based on Spider-Man in the MCU, it's kind of
when she tells him to take off his clothes, considering like the amount of times they try to put pop culture references in there for Peter, I would have had him just be like, "I've seen Hostel. I'm not doing that." Like something like that.
I would have loved that, or I would have loved him being like adult.
Stranger danger.
You were like this lady just told me to take off my clothes and then demanded me when I was hesitant about it. She demanded me take off my clothes. That was crazy. And then Peter with the glasses, man, that was dumb as hell. Him say, "Is he a target?" And he's like, "Yeah, he's a target." And they're like, "Okay, boom, we're gonna send a freaking drone. We're gonna kill you too. We're gonna kill you and Jeff. You better use your Spidey senses." Thankfully, everyone likes his new look because of the wind when he jumps out of the bus to web the drone. His hair goes up, and Betty was like, "Don't think that we don't notice your new look."
He looked like a mini RDJ there.
Yeah.
Chase, what were your thoughts on all of this?
I was just like, get to the point, please. I get it. The whole idea was we got to show you what Edith can do and stuff. Right? Everyone's like, why did Tony trust him? Well, you got to watch Endgame. The reason why Tony even decided that he was going to go time travel was because he looked at the picture of him and Peter, and then he's like, I know I can do this. I can figure it out. Blah blah blah. Because he loves the kid. That's his baby. That's the son he never had. You know, as much as he has his daughter Morgana and he loves her 3000, he loves Peter Parker, Edith. He's the hero to end it all. You know, he loves Peter Parker. Yeah. That's his boy. So I understand why Tony Stark gave him the glasses. Probably not the best person to give the glasses to because Peter's kind of a goof. But other than that, like I understand. Like also,
I would have gave it to Cap.
Yeah, exactly. His old ass.
Yeah, I would have given it to old ass Cap, and then Cap could have been like, Bucky. I know you like.
Oh, see, no, he would have given it to the worst. Captain America's a goof. He would have been like, Bucky, here's these and Bucky, and then all of a sudden Bucky gets mind warped again by some.
They say Falcon 1994, and he's like, dum dum dum.
Yeah, no, but I understand the points of the scenes. I was just like, all right, let's just get to some more Spider-Man, please. Like, I was just like, this is just what happened to the nice flow of Homecoming? This is just all herky-jerky right now for me. I'm just like, what happened to the flow of this and stuff? But hey, we got some web shootings. That's cool and stuff. And how many people do the Shield have on payroll or Shield? I don't even know if they're Shield at this point because like the bus drivers on the payroll, like the fuck is this? Like who else is on the payroll of this at this point? Like I want to trust anyone that I interact with. I'm gonna be like, do you know Agent Fury? And if the person said no, I'm gonna be like, I don't trust you. Like I don't trust you after this.
But we are going to get a little back on track with some spider action because we get to Prague. It's a much upgraded hotel. Flash is relieved, and we get to find out that there's going to be a festival of light, the festival of lights that they want to go to. Everyone's very excited for this, and Peter's thinking about, oh shit, like we gotta keep everybody indoors because there's gonna be a fight. There's gonna be this elemental shit. Like I gotta keep them safe. And so he puts Edith on and he goes, hey, how do I keep these people trapped? Like, how do I falsely imprison these people against their will? And Edith's like, that's the easiest thing you could like. I mean, we could. You want me to drone them? I could target them. And he's like, no. Like, can we just do a little bit more safely? Edith's like, oh, all right. So we get this. They get invitations or they get free tickets to the opera, and the teacher again is like, free. We got free shit. We're going to this, and everyone's like, this is the dumbest idea that we have ever heard. And Flash is like, no one ever wants to go to the opera for 4 hours, and so they are forced to go to the opera. We see the festival kind of happening behind them, and everyone's just like, oh,
everybody was going that way.
They go. MCU's budget was like, hey, look, this movie's already expensive. We can't have you guys going to no damn festival.
They get to the opera.
Sony wasn't ponying up.
They get to the opera, and again, Pete's like, wishes he could hang out there and stay there with MJ, but he can't. And MJ, finally get like a little bit more of the interaction between Pete and MJ, where she's kind of asking him like, "Do you want to sit together? Do you want to like go in on glasses together? Like, do you want to do any of these things?" And Pete's like, "Yeah, go save me a seat. I'll be right back."
Oh,
Uh,
I was like, oh, Pete, come on, man.
and Brad's just like, "Got you, buddy."
Brad's like, no, Brad was like this.
And he's able to get Ned and Betty to try to like help him out and sit with MJ. So he's getting ready to head out. And meanwhile, Ned and Betty also leave, and MJ follows.
MJ goes out first.
Sorry, you're right.
MJ follows Peter.
Ned and Betty are like, we're gonna figure out what's going on. Or Ned's going like, we're gonna figure out what's going on. And Ned now knows like what about this Prague situation or what's happening. So Ned's like, he doesn't want to go out there, but like Betty's like, let's go. So now we have this elemental fight, and we had been briefed on this that it's going to be a fire elemental, and we have to stop it from getting to a lot of metal, because if it gets to a lot of metal, it'll be able to absorb it. It'll be able to tap into the Earth's core. No real explanation about that. Why this is going to anything like this. Like from that perspective, it's like it just needs metal to tap to the Earth's core. Well, everything's metal. Like there's so much. How do we stop this thing? So the fight happens. Peter is in his he's in his new
night monkey suit.
He's in his night monkey suit. We had Nick be like, you got to get your head in the game. You got to figure out what's going on. Pete had talked to Beck earlier before all of this had happened and been like, I just want to be able to hang out with the girl that I like and tell her how I feel. And Beck's like, cool, we'll solve this elemental thing and then you can do that. So we're having this elemental fight, and it's very interesting because like nobody really kind of gets hurt. No. There's fire, but nobody really gets hurt by the fire. Now there's a threat of danger because Betty has gotten Ned up into the Ferris wheel, metal, and they get stuck at the top of the Ferris wheel, which would normally be a very romantic situation. But in this case, it's potentially life-threatening. And Peter, or Night Monkey, has to help and figure out like how to keep them safe. And when Betty's like, "Who is that?" It is Ned who comes up with the name. It's Night Monkey. And it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah. He's like the UK version of Spider-Man. Yeah, Night Monkey. Yeah. He's been going around. You haven't seen him? Yeah. YouTube.
MJ, meanwhile, is sort of watching, like trying to be safe, but also watching and trying to figure out what's going on herself, get confused about where Pete is. And during the fight, something gets like pulled out of the elemental and lands on a cobblestone street by MJ. And we're like, what is that? Like, what could that possibly be? But they are able to take out the elemental. So what did you guys think about the opera thing and Pete being like, oh, I got it, like this is just like having to choose again with Liz and being Spider-Man, and this elemental fight scene. It's now our second fight scene of this movie. But interestingly, we are at a certain point in the movie, but we already know that if they are successful taking care of this elemental, they will have been successful in taking care of all of the elementals. So something has to happen for this situation to get worse or get bad. Sid, we'll start with you.
Yeah, this is another great set piece with the carnival, the night of lights, and everything breaking down, and seeing Spider-Man in his element, trying to make the save for Ned and Betty, trying to help out Mysterio fight the elemental. I thought that it was like nice little elements, nice usage of kind of the space and the setting that they were in. I thought they used that very well throughout this whole scene and everything. Peter kind of struggling between the choice between being Peter and being Spider-Man. It's going to be the internal struggle. It's going to be something that he's always going to have to go through. And he seems to always choose Spider-Man, which I think is the right choice for now. But how long is it going to be the right choice? So, yeah, good stuff.
And how'd you feel, Chase?
I like how Peter tried to find a way to keep them inside, and by getting them free opera tickets, I can't tell you how many class trips we would get. Like the most that stands to mind, we went to Stanford University one time, and on a Saturday, Stanford, and John knows this, Andrew Luck was playing, and I was so excited because and my teacher said, "I got a surprise for you guys. We're going to the play at Stanford." That was not in my plan. So me, my friend Luke, and Danielle, we snuck out of the play. We went to the Stanford team store and bought some Stanford t-shirts, snuck into the Stanford home game, went into the Stanford student section, maybe had some underage beers at that time. Who knows? But it was a great time. So I'm with MJ. I am with Ned. I'm with Betty. I'm not sitting in no damn opera. Like, this is just ridiculous. Like, what are we doing? But smart move by Peter, because now it keeps them away from the Festival of Lights, but also keeps them out of danger of the elemental that's going to be popping up. I love how Jake Gyllenhaal just doesn't give a shit. He's just like, dude, it's all right. Yeah, you can do it afterwards. Let's help me first. It's all about me right now. Come on, man. I got to get back to my universe and stuff. And yeah, like when I first watched the movie, I was like, why is it not doing any damage? I'm like, what? And I'm like, oh, like he probably set this up and everything. It was very good work, and especially when we see that like something comes out of the elemental, you're like, it's part of the tricks of Mysterio and stuff. But once again, they do a great job at making you feel like, man, Mysterio not a bad guy. Like, what's wrong with this guy? He's a very good person, Mysterio. Like, very good job. Like, that's what I took out of this, was that great job at making me like Mysterio, or making me feel like he is a hero. Like, very good work by this movie. I forgot like the movie did this that well. I was just like, wow, they did this really well. Like on my rewatch, like I was just like, oh, I didn't realize I like Mysterio as much. Like I do like Jake Gyllenhaal as an actor, but I was like coming out of this, I'm like, I don't remember my first time watching this liking Mysterio this much. Like I was like, what? I liked him this much?
I couldn't force myself to watch it. Like I never watched it before. I still couldn't find myself liking him whatsoever, because I know what he's gonna do.
Yeah. I'm good. It's funny. I have a long-term memory, but for certain movies, sometimes I'll be like, all right, let's shut off that long-term memory brain and just rewatch like you've never seen it. And I was just coming away from it. I'm like, I don't remember liking him this much my first time, because I've only seen Far From Home like 4 or 5 times since this rewatch. Like not as much as like previous Spider-Man movies. So it's like, I'm like, man, like, did I like him like in my previous? I can't even remember. Like, so yeah, they did a good job. The writing and stuff make me like Mysterio as a person and stuff, and then it makes his heel turn even better. When it happens, I'm like, fuck this son of a bitch.
Well, speaking of which, they go out to drink, to celebrate, and while they're at
Nick Fury chews out Peter.
Nick Fury first, and not only does he chew him out, but he does tell him, you know, we need to continue having a team, and I want Mysterio, but I also want you. And so it's this idea that, you know, we really don't know what the status of the Avengers are after Endgame, and so maybe this is like the creation of something new. Peter and Beck go out to drink, to celebrate. Pete's kind of like, but I'm kind of underage. Like, oh, okay, all right. Well, they're having this conversation here, and not in Europe. They're having a conversation about everything that's going on in Peter's life and what he wants to do, and so on and so forth. And Pete realizes that there is another interpretation of what the message was from Tony. The message says, for the next Iron Man or the next Tony Stark, I trust you. And at its first glance or first reading, we would think, oh, it's for Peter. Like he's saying he trusts Peter. But it could also, the interpretation be that he is trusting Peter with figuring out who will be or should be the next Iron Man. And now he thinks, with that interpretation, if you look at it with that point of view or that perspective, he thinks, well, it should be Mysterio, not me. Like Mysterio knows what he's doing. He's charismatic. He's experienced. He can think on his feet a lot better than me. Like he's just better at this than me. And Mysterio has a funny line here where he's just like, how many lemonades have you drank? But Pete decides to give control of Edith to Mysterio and he signs over full control to Mysterio, gives him the glasses, and it's such a good scene, such a good moment. Pete leaves the bar, and as we see him leaving the bar, walking past like the windows, things in the bar start disappearing. People start disappearing. It turns out it's a bar. It just doesn't look anything like what the bar actually is, because Quentin Beck was pulling the wool over everybody's eyes the whole time. As I put in my notes, he's a con man. And that's exactly what he is, because this is Quentin Beck, and he now the mask is falling off, and we have his team of people who are there, and he's like, we need to celebrate. And he goes through the fact that he is a former employee of Tony Stark's, of Stark Enterprises, who was unceremoniously fired by Tony because of some of the research that he was doing and what he wanted to try to do with the research. Meanwhile, he created research that Tony kind of took credit for, aka BARF, the alternate reality or AR visual experience that we saw in the beginning of Civil War. And I thought it was interesting. I was reading some of the trivia. When that scene first happened, there were people who, like, some odd out there theories, who said they wondered if that would eventually somehow connect to Mysterio. And it was fascinating, and that people would think of that. But then also, I guess either Marvel, that was the plan, or Marvel possibly saw some of those things and was like, oh, this will work.
Kevin Feige saw that
together.
No, only Feige. He's gonna be like, I thought of this. This was all me, and he's like, hey, that's a good idea. Russo, you got that? Oh, you're not on the movie? I'll someone else.
But we also get reintroduced to the engineer that Obadiah Stane was yelling at.
Tony Stark built this in a can
with scraps. And we find out that so many people that are part of Mysterio's team are pissed off at Tony Stark because of what the kind of boss that Tony was, even after Tony had he wasn't even really a heel, but after he had the face turn in Iron Man, I guess he was still kind of a shit boss. But that's probably why he was letting Pepper do a lot of the things for him.
Yeah.
But as a result, they have all these problems. What?
And Iron Man 2 and 3 was kind of an asshole.
He was.
But they have all these problems with Tony, and one of the things that I think, honestly, Quentin Beck has a very strong argument here, because he creates these glasses, and who does he give them to? Another superhero? The Department of Defense? No, he gives it to a child. It's like,
he's not wrong.
Kind of right.
He
might be onto something.
He's actually not wrong. So yeah.
But this is one of the better reveals of a villain that we have in movies recently, because of how well, to Chase's point, if you didn't know too much about the Spider-Man comics and things like that, just how well they were presenting it, but also the idea that it could be a hero who has a fall from grace and turns into a villain, this iteration of Mysterio. So what were your guys' thoughts on this? As well as, again, it's a villain that seems to have more of a bone to pick with Tony Stark.
Yeah. It is that in a lot of ways with this film and Homecoming. I think that is another reason why I think that it is held back a little bit. But I just love this heel turn. This heel turn is just so well done. It's so well executed. And then the little speech afterwards, it just totally turns your whole perspective of him. He went from this valiant hero who is fighting for his fallen country, his fallen planet, his fallen earth, his family and friends that he lost, to this pretentious, disingenuous little prick who is just faking everybody and just lying to everybody and manipulating them. So I like how they turned it up. I would say up to this point in the MCU, this is the second best heel turn of the MCU. Off the top of my head, I think the only one that's better than this one is Ego in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Yeah.
That's probably the only one.
Ego
Probably
saying
the
he
only
killed Star-Lord's mom. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the best heel. He was like,
That's
yeah,
the best heel turn.
He's like, it hurt me so much to put the cancer in her
Cancer,
brain.
yeah.
And the best part of it is, Star-Lord's face is like,
that's up there with like you guys seen Invincible, right? Have any of y'all seen Invincible?
I've not.
No.
Okay, so in Invincible, Omni-Man, he goes to Invincible, who's his son. He goes like, but Dad, don't you love my mom? And Invincible goes, yeah, I like your mom. I see her more as a pet than anything else. And I was like, oh my God, he called his mom a pet. That's how that when Ego said the cancer line, like when Omni-Man said that reminded me when Ego said, yeah, it sucked when I put the cancer in your mom and made her die. I was like, what? No, SP2, you're right. That's the best heel turn. This is the second best heel turn. Like, so good, nice little, like it was so on brand for Mysterio too. And then the reveal of all these little extras that got like a nice little like, hey, come on back. And like the only thing I'm like, man, I wish Jake Gyllenhaal was actually in one of the movies, and it was just like, oh, I wonder what if he will tech. That's the only thing. Like if you went back, but if you watch some of the older movies, all those characters are in those older movies, and they're small bit roles. The fact that they reference one of my favorite MCU scenes that's not serious. Tony Stark built this in the cave was one of the best. I remember seeing that Iron Man laughing, and just that they're like, we got to show that scene again. And I was like, why? I loved it. Everything about this is so on brand for Mysterio. He played Peter like a fiddle. He made Peter Parker believe this story that he lost everything, his Earth and stuff, and he showed Peter what a great hero he is. And Peter, this whole theme of the movie is running away from responsibility. He does not want responsibility anymore. He wants to just be Peter Parker. So he says, you know what? You're the new Iron Man. And
I just thought Peter was dumb as hell.
No, he's dumb. He's dumb for just trusting this guy after only like 2 or 3 things that he's seen. But it's just him, like, saying, I don't want this responsibility here. You can have it, Mr. Beck. You show me you're decent. Like, bro, if Tony Stark gave me Edith, you would have to be like, I don't know, who would you trust in the MCU? Like, who's the one person you'd be like, hey man, I transfer. I think Black Panther's the only motherfucker I would trust. Wong, I feel like Wong would fuck it up somehow. Like,
Wong doesn't fuck up. Wong cleans up the fuck ups.
Nah, yeah, I would trust Black Panther before he dies, and then I would say, okay, Black Panther has to go back to me after you die.
You can't revise history, man. He's dead.
But after he dies, he gives it back to me. Like, he has to give it back. But I would trust Black Panther before I trust anyone else. Like, that's actually an Avenger. I trust Black Panther with that.
I mean, I
didn't trust
small. I probably like Rhodey would be on the list just because of the connection with Tony, and he would know how Tony would want it to be used. If Cap hadn't gotten old, probably Cap.
You're not trusting Ant-Man with that shit. Scott would find a way to fuck it up.
Scott would absolutely find a way to fuck it up.
Swap some bakes with that shit.
But Peter, he's still thinking, what if we can find a way to get to the Eiffel Tower? Because, like the trip is, we dealt with the elemental. Like we solved the problem. We solved the day. Like we can get back to regularly scheduled program in the sense that Nick Fury's not going to be hijacking my trip. However, Ned correctly points out that there have now been 2 elemental attacks that have happened while the school trip is happening. The parents are going, what the hell's going on? Bring our children home. So they are actually going home in the morning, and they all have to start packing, and they're getting flights and all that kind of stuff. Pete's like, this is terrible. Like, I did everything I was supposed to do. Well, why can't things go right for me? But it does kind of go right because he and MJ decide to go for a walk together, and he tells her that there's something he wants to tell her. And MJ goes, do you want to tell me that you're Spider-Man? And Pete's like,
wait, huh?
No.
What do you mean?
What are you talking about? I'm not Spider-Man. Why would you say I'm Spider-Man?
why would you say I'm Spider-Man? And she's like, well, because it's obvious. And he's like, I don't think it's obvious. Like, what are we saying? Like, what are we talking about here? Like, I mean, are you saying I'm Spider-Man in the sense of like anybody can be Spider-Man? Because then yes, it's obvious. Anybody can be Spider-Man. But like me specifically, I don't really know about that. And MJ is like, no, I'm pretty sure you're Spider-Man.
I'm 67% sure.
Yeah. She's like, I've been watching you. She's like, I've been watching you. And Pete correctly asks her, were you watching me because you thought I was Spider-Man? And MJ,
yeah, of course.
MJ is like, yeah, that's the reason why. And one of the ways that she proves that he is Spider-Man, or that Spider-Man is here, is the piece of technology or something that came out of the elemental, because he's saying, no, that was the night monkey. And she goes, does the night monkey use the same webbing that Spider-Man uses? But when she is showing him the item, it triggers something, and we start seeing the illusions, or Peter and MJ start seeing the illusions, and they are super duper fucking confused because of like, what is going on? And Pete's trying to figure out like, who would do such a thing? The illusion comes back, and he sees Mysterio in the illusion, and it's just like he does like the, oh my god! Like it's like
that was like record time too. I like the fact that they placed these two scenes right back to each other, because it's like immediately you're gonna see you fucked up.
Meanwhile, we cut back to Quentin Beck, Mysterio, and he is going over what he is planning next. And this whole thing is that he wants to use Edith to become as big as Iron Man, or become almost like bigger than the Avengers themselves, and wants to be the world's greatest hero and be revered for that. And it's part of the plan is that this will all indirectly make everybody on the team very, very wealthy. He is running through the protocol, or running through this plan, and he realizes that there's something wrong with his suit, because he's never actually in the suit. It's just another series of drones that are projecting the images of him in the suit, and he's realizing something's wrong. And so he asks the main engineer guy, the guy who was having to build things in a cave of scraps, and that guy's like, yeah, it's just like one faulty drone, whatever. And Beck's like, what do you mean it's one faulty drone? Like, what? And the guy's like, yeah, like what's the big deal? And Beck correctly goes, that one thing is evidence that we did something we were not supposed to do, and that ties back to us. And so he takes control with Edith. He searches through to find that piece of equipment to figure out what's going on, and that reveals to him that Peter knows. And now he says one of the best lines in the movie when he turns back to the engineer. He goes, I hope you're happy knowing that the blood of Peter Parker was on your hands. Like, one of the best lines, because I'm like, okay, now we're starting to see why Tony fired him. He really is actually unstable, because he turns the drones at one point on the members of the team. And he's like, what are, like, and we're starting to see there's some cracks in this mental facade. Chase, what were your thoughts on MJ revealing that she knows that Peter is Spider-Man, and Peter finding out that Mysterio was a fraud, and Mysterio I know that you know that I know that you know, that bit with Mysterio?
Like as Peter said, I love that they put all these scenes back to back to back, because finally there's some good flow to this movie, because I felt this movie was like a little herky jerky with them stuff. We're on a nice little flow track here. All right, let's get to we already got a second big set piece. Now let's ramp up to the hero and the villain encountering each other on opposite sides for the first time. MJ figuring out that's Peter Parker. Wow, finally someone with a fucking brain. That's like, it's really not that hard to figure out this guy is Spider-Man. And so I like that Zendaya's character is kind of just like very much aware of her surroundings. It's not like she's like some dumb idiot. Like, she's very much like like the one thing about Zendaya's MJ is like she feels like you're an audience member being her. Like you're like, oh, thank God, yes, awesome. Like, she's kind of like Deadpool in a sense, where she kind of breaks the fourth wall a little bit, but it's not like to the extreme. It's just more of like, thank you. You're saying what I've been saying in my head this whole movie. So the fact that she figured it out, and like I liked her line where it's like, I was 67% sure you're Spider-Man. like she wasn't 100%. She didn't want to seem like an idiot by saying she was 100% sure. So she just went with a nice little 6-7. You know, she started the trend, Zendaya. So you know, she started it. Zendaya's a trend setter and stuff. But yeah, no, the chemistry between Zendaya and Tom Holland here was really good. Like as we talked about with the Garfield movies, how man, Garfield and Emma Stone have great chemistry. Just them two talking, it was like, yeah, I can see why they're getting married in real life. Like they have really good chemistry on screen with each other. And the reveal of like the thing, and then they freak out at first, and they're like, wait a minute, what? And it's just like this monster, and then they see Beck like, hold on, I'll hold him back and stuff. It was just like, oh my god, dude, this Quentin Beck is a genius. Like what the? And then him freaking out on everyone else, like it's just like it's perfect. It's just like. And then also, too, it's like, bro, you got the losers that Iron Man didn't like. Like, what do you expect to happen? Like, these guys got fired for a reason. There's a reason why Tony Stark was mean to these people. They're kind of idiots. you grabbed the idiots. You didn't grab the Avengers, buddy. You grabbed the idiots. So it's your fault.
Sid, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, a lot of good stuff here. Peter and MJ, yeah, like Zendaya and Tom Holland, yeah, their chemistry is just off the charts. Like we saw it in their first conversation in Italy, then we saw it with them at the opera with their little conversation about sitting next to each other, and then it really comes home with this conversation here. Whereas and this is my MJ. I don't care about all you Kristen Dunst fandom. This is my MJ because she is independent and she has fucking agency. She has agency. She figures it out all on her own. She plays a side character with quick quips in the first film, and then in this film she is the basically like a sidekick to Spider-Man more than she is the damsel in distress or his love interest. She's more of someone who immediately, once he knows that she knows and he admits it right after the projection of Mysterio comes up. And I love the interaction between Ned and her, where you could see Ned is quite jealous. It was like, you know, it's cool you know Spider-Man, I know Spider-Man. Well, I know it first, but you know who's counting? It's not a competition.
I knew first.
It's not a competition. It's not a competition. And then Quentin Beck turning even more heel, doing a Dominic Mysterio on his own crew was just fun. It's just fun, and establishes him as someone who is not likable and someone that we should be rooting against.
I really hate when people like shit on like how they present this version of MJ. I'm like, guys, like it's okay for them to do a little bit something different than what Mary Jane or MJ represents. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like it doesn't have to be.
But
like,
if you see like MJ in some of the comics or MJ in the animated series, she was very independent. Yeah. She was very much had agency in those mediums. It's only been in the live action with the Kristen Dunst 3 films where it's just been damsel in distress.
Yeah, exactly. No, I'm talking about people just don't like how she's so aware and all this other stuff, smart. Like they don't like this for whatever reason, and I don't get it. I'm like, why is it that this bugs you about Zendaya's portrayal of Mary Jane or Michelle Jones? Like I still call her Mary Jane, like you do, Sid. Like it's just you say MJ, it's Mary Jane. It's just easier for me to say. Like I'm not gonna change it. I know her name is Michelle Jones as a character, but I have no problem with it because it's a different take on the MJ character, which I'm fine if the writers want to take a different route with MJ. Like, you know, John and I know playing the Spider-Man video game, she's like a reporter. She's never been a reporter and stuff, and she's headstrong and she does a bunch of. Is she whiny? Yeah, she's definitely whiny. She definitely puts our boy Peter through the. Dude, like blaming Peter when Peter was trying to save her life. Like, okay,
don't get me started.
Yeah, she pisses me off sometimes, but other than that, I do like that Zendaya represents a strong woman, and I get it. A lot of people don't like in their superhero movies a strong woman and everything like that. They want it where the hero looks strong. Guys, it's okay. They're not trying to feed propaganda in your head or anything like that. It's just a movie character.
I will say it's funny because I pointed this out to Colleen today when we were rewatching Far From Home, that like they do have lifts in Holland's shoes so that they are the same height.
Oh, dude.
And they're not the same height.
They're not the same height in real life.
Throughout the whole film, Zendaya's taller than him.
Dude, Tom
Still.
Holland's wearing like the Converses with like the freaking list, dude. He's like a pro. He's like a pro wrestler that's 5'7", wearing those 6-foot lists right there, brother. He's trying to be at the same height. We see you, MJF.
It's the Adam Cole is 6 feet tall.
I remember when I saw MJF in person one time. Did I ever tell you this story? Like I about the Double or Nothing thing that happened? Remember when he no-showed the Double or Nothing meet and greet that one year? So I went gambling at Excalibur and I saw MJF at a quarter machine at Wheel of Fortune and he was playing it and he looked pissed. And so I was just like, I'm gonna sit next to him. So I was sitting next to him and he's tapping this shit. Like he's pissed. And then like afterwards, like he's not hitting or anything. And I tell him like, hey man, you go down, there's these line machines that are also quarters. They tend to hit. He goes, all right, cool. He gets up from his machine. I sit in his machine. I hit right away. And I get real, but I saw him walk away and I'm like, yo, this motherfucker I thought this motherfucker was taller. He's the same height as me. I was like, damn, he'd definitely be wearing lifts. But yeah, I always remember. And then I didn't know that he no-showed the Double or Nothing thing. So I went to my friends afterwards because they woke up later. I'm an early riser, no matter what time I sleep in Vegas. And so I go, yeah, man, I ran into MJF at the casino. He goes, Chase, you should have given that info to the dirt sheets. I'm like, what? And, goes, and I'm like, why? And they're like, you didn't know he no-showed the Double or Nothing thing. I'm like, what? And then they told me all
stuck at the line machines.
Yeah, he was playing slots at Excalibur that day. And then my buddy said when he was flying back home, he saw MJF at the airport casino playing Wheel of Fortune at the airport casino. And I was like, man, he must really like Wheel of Fortune.
Hey, that's his game, apparently.
It's a great slot machine, by the way. Very addictive.
But Pete, MJ, and Ned, they hope their luck is going to work out as they come up with a plan to figure out how to stop Beck from whatever it is that he's going to do and get control back of Edith. That's really the thing. Pete's like, shit, I gave him the keys to the kingdom, the keys to the castle.
Doesn't feel fair about this, though.
Yeah, they're like, what we need to do is we're going to have Ned call Happy, and Happy is going to like talk to Fury and stuff because we can't do it directly and all this kind of thing. But we know that we got to get to Berlin because that's where Beck's supposed to be meeting with Fury. So I'm gonna get to Berlin. This was a hilarious for me, just personally, at this point in the movie because he rides he rides a Deutsche Bahn train to Berlin. And Deutsche Bahn, DB Schenker is the company that I was in-house counsel for. So that was hilarious because like I'm watching the movie and then I saw the logo and I was like, wait a minute, what the fuck? Like, holy shit! It just reminded me. I was like, oh yeah, no, the government of Germany it's a nationalized railway line, a company that they own. I was like, shit, that is that. But he gets there, he's picked up by Fury, who is asking him, like, you know, he's gotten this information, like we know that something's going on, and now Peter's really getting into this whole thing and telling him this story, and Nick Fury's like, okay, well, who did you like? Who did you tell about this? And this is where Pete's spider sense kicks in for one of the first times in the movie, where he's like, wait a minute, something's off. And all of these illusions start to fall as the Peter Tingle, as the spider sense kicks in. This is one of the real demonstrations of what Mysterio can do when not he has a plan in place, but also like when he's targeting one individual person versus trying to fool a whole bunch of people. And it's a really cool, just visually really cool chain of events sequence that happens where Pete is getting hit with a whole bunch of illusions, forcing him to deal with all these different messed up things that he has had in his life, things that he's experienced, and it culminates with, or is leading towards, him having to look at the tombstone of Anthony Stark, and then a like dead zombie skeletal version of Iron Man comes out, like half suit, half dead, decaying body, like chasing after Peter. Peter is like emotionally just like destroyed. He's like wrecked by this, and he's trying to figure out like how do I fight back, because everything I do is like I can't trust my own senses, which again is reinforcing this idea with Pete, where Pete's like there's this level of confidence issues that Pete now has because of everything that he experienced in Homecoming, Infinity War, and Endgame. It's this idea of like, yeah, I don't want those big missions because I don't know if I'm really capable of it, and how can I deal with that? If I barely deal with any of the things around me. On top of this, one of the things that Mysterio is throwing at him is the idea, like this again, you were supposed to be the next Iron Man? You? Really? You? And so Pete is trying to fight through these illusions, but luckily Nick Fury is able to save him. Psych! It's another illusion. And Mysterio gets him to like back up onto train tracks, where he gets hit by a train. So this was a roller coaster, a train ride of a emotional journey that Mysterio threw Peter on, telling him like, you know, now I got to kill your friends. Like I got to kill all these people that you told. Like why would you make me do this? How did you feel about this?
I actually love all the little effects that Mysterio has here. As you said, Mysterio's the best when he can just control one person. He's not good at faking out thousands of people, but one person and you have a focus. Oh, good luck. You think you've been on a great high whenever you smoke a certain weed? Get on that Mysterio train. You would be on a whole different planet. I do see some people when they say like, I wish there was like something with Uncle Ben here, where like because like Peter always loves Uncle Ben. That's one of the main people that he looks at. So I understand where people say with that. The Tony Stark zombie thing, I just thought of my boy Sam Raimi, and I'm thinking, man, the potential Sam Raimi could have had with all this. He would have been, you thought that was scary? Sam Raimi would have made this into a legit. He would have made parents go out to the movie, people, and complain. Spider-Man has this really scary scene. And so Sam Raimi would have.
Sam Raimi would have done something where like 5 minutes was just like narrative info dump, so that he could set up 1 hour and 20 minutes of this scene.
Yeah, exactly.
15 minutes of Pete's figuring out how to deal with it.
Sam Raimi's like, man, dude, just wait till I get Doctor Strange. I got you. Did you know? Have you ever rewatched that movie now that I've mentioned Sam Raimi's love for jump scares, and just see how many times Wanda goes, wah! That movie. Fucking Sam. I love that guy. Son of a bitch. Come back. Just one more movie, Sam. You got this.
One more match.
One more Spider-Man movie. Show the people why you can. It can be with Tom Holland. That's fine. I just want Sam Raimi to show his true work of art. But no, this was just great. And then I love the twist. I literally thought that was Nick Fury that shot Mysterio, and then it wasn't.
You know what the best part of it was? I thought it was Nick Fury today when I was rewatching it.
Yeah,
I was like, oh fuck, it is.
And I love the twist because like he kind of thinks like, oh, he can sense that it's danger, and so it makes it where his senses go down to where he does get hit by the train. So it makes it where it's like, okay, cool, perfect. And like you mentioned, the confidence issues. Like Peter doesn't have this confidence anymore. Like right now, he's questioning himself. But yeah, Mysterio just being a dick, like where he goes like, now I have to kill your friends. Do you think I want to do this? Like always the victim this guy is. He's just such a great asshole.
But Sid, how did you feel about this? I mean, this just the emotional shitstorm that Mysterio puts Pete through.
Well, visually, it's a great scene just because of all the different illusions that he's going through, and he looks like he's like going through like a maze at time, or his own nightmares or dreams. And then this brings out the most gaslighting version of Mysterio, which was a nice little addition to make him further into the villain. So I thought this was a highlight for Mysterio, and like y'all too, I definitely believe that was Nick Fury at the end. I was like, yeah, that's Nick Fury. scary. Oh, look at that. That's cool. But then when Pete tells him that only MJ and Ned know who he is, so basically Mysterio can try to go after them. It's the ultimate kind of like payoff, setup and delivery, and really good stuff. And then the big ending with the train hitting Pete. It's like, damn, we're down bad. So it sets up the third act very well.
Pete wakes up in the Netherlands, of all places, where he gets out of prison because he ended up stuck in a rail yard, and so they just were like, well, we're putting this guy in prison. And he decides to, he's got to figure out how is he going to get to everywhere he needs to go. How's he going to get the help that he needs? He's going to call Happy. And again, they're like the funny thing where he's like, everyone's so nice here. Like, what's going on? Because he asks the guy if he can use his phone.
He just got out of jail. He just unlocked the jail.
And the guys that he's in jail with, they're like, we're just gonna stay here. Like we're supposed to be in jail, so we're gonna stay here.
That's the Dutch to a T. I am Dutch. I can tell you, if you ever go to the Netherlands, they'll treat you like your family. You can go to someone's house and be like, hey, can I crash? And they'll be like, yeah, couch is there for you, and don't mind to grab anything from the fridge. It's like, oh, okay, cool, thanks.
That explains why Yuta Leerdam ended up with Jake Paul. He just stayed.
Yeah, just avoid the red light district. That's the dark side of the Netherlands. That's the red light district is where the hookers are and stuff and whatnot. But Amsterdam, you go to Amsterdam, that's where the assholes live. Like they're like the snobby Netherlands people, but everyone else, they're just super friendly. I remember when I went to the trip, I didn't have a bike, and this random girl was just like, "Want to ride my boyfriend's bike?" And I was like, "Oh no, I'm good. I don't have a helmet." "Oh, you don't need a helmet here. You can just ride it real quick." And I was like, "Okay." And I just rode her boyfriend's bike to work. She let me have this bike for 6 hours, and then I rode it back. And then the boyfriend was super nice, and then asked how my shift was. I was like, "This is way too." You know what's cool about the Netherlands? You can bring outside food into the theaters. I went to go see Transformers in the Netherlands, and I brought outside food. And the lady was all like, "Oh, you didn't want to bring food?" And I brought like a whole pantry. It was great.
Well, he needs help to kind of call Happy. He asks the guy to borrow the phone. The guy's like, yeah, sure, here's the phone. Pete calls Happy. Happy shows up in a Stark jet, a nice little scene with tulips. Netherlands famous for the tulips. And there is an emotional reunion with Happy where Pete sort of loses it for a moment. He does apologize to Happy for snapping at him. But like there's this back and forth where Pete's just like, he's finally able to vent and be like, what? Like, everybody wants me to be Tony. Everybody wants me to be the new Tony Stark, and I can't do it. I'm just not good enough. And Happy, who, if there's anybody beside, if there's only really 3 people that know Tony the best, it would be Happy, Pepper, and Rhodey. And luckily, Pete's talking to one of those 3. And Happy says to him, Tony second guessed himself all the time. Like he didn't think he was infallible. Like he didn't think he had all the answers. He really tried to make sure that he was doing the right thing, but he always wondered if he was. And so like there was that outward confidence that Tony projected, but inside it was always the idea of, am I doing the right thing? Which we have seen Tony struggle with, especially in Age of Ultron. So
he says that's like his main line in the whole movie. Every movie he's in, am I doing the right thing? Am I doing the right thing, Potts? Am I doing the right thing? He says, am I doing the right thing? Like take a shot every time RDJ says, am I doing the right thing after Iron Man 2? It's every freaking scene, like Ultron, Infinity War, Endgame. Am I doing the right thing? It's like
him questioning whether he's doing the right thing is basically the entire plot line of Iron Man 3. It's him dealing with the fallout from delivering the missile, the nuke, to outer space, and then being like, how do I solve that problem that was created, or that we now need to deal with, in knowing that there are aliens out there that are going to be that could cause all this damage to us. So
am I doing the right thing is basically Iron Man's with great power comes great
right. Yeah. We get my favorite part of this movie where Happy goes, all right, what's the plan? He's like, well, I know that they're illusions, so now I got to kick his ass, but I need a suit. And so we get the mobile lab scene, and down to Peter like putting his hand into the like the holograph, just like Tony does in the first Iron Man. And
Happy sees him do that.
Happy when Happy sees him do that,
Oh.
Happy's just like and Pete's like, is everything okay? And Happy's just like, yeah, it's fine.
And I know John.
You take care of the suit. I'll take care of the music.
I know John Frabala. He probably was method acting there because he probably felt some type of emotion with that. It's like he's so good at that.
Yeah, it's like when Morgan's like, I like cheeseburgers. He's like, Dad like cheeseburgers.
Oh,
get you cheeseburgers. But yeah,
all the cheeseburgers in the world.
To Sid's point, Happy goes, you take care of the suit, I'll take care of the music. And what does he play? Back in Black, which was AC/DC, Iron Man 1, and Peter, of course, goes, I love Led Zeppelin.
I was like, Peter, never change.
So we are getting to we're building towards our final fight here, and Happy is tracking the class through the Flash mob, which is Flash's which is hilarious, but Flash is constantly he's constantly live streaming like what they're doing, where they are, all of those things. He calls it the Flash mob. I would love to know how many followers Flash is supposed to have on Instagram. It's probably like 3.
Flash is D1 Glazer Spider-Man fan. He probably has at least like 13 people watching him.
Whatever it is, it's not his father and his mother for sure. They don't follow him on Instagram.
Nah, his father and mother don't fuck with him like that.
Yeah, I have this coworker, and I called him Flash on accident because he looks like the Flash's actor in this movie. And so, because we've been rewatching, I'm like, his name is like Audie, and I was like, "What's up, Flash?" And he goes, "Flash," and I was like, "Oh shit, my bad." And I didn't explain it to him why I said that. I just called him Flash. He looks just like him.
But we've got we're building towards. It's London. That's where this is going to be going down. England, and we got to get over there as quickly as possible. We got to warn Fury, let him know that things are not what it seems, that things are wrong. Happy leaves one of the funniest attempts at a message where I was like, that's a great way to make it coded. Things aren't what they seem. Like the appearance is going to be deceiving. But Peter knows that he has to go after Beck. And he's got to get through the cloud of drones. And once he's inside, then he can take it out from inside out. And so he's trying to get this done. And meanwhile, the class doesn't realize it, but they've actually been taken hostage by one of Beck's guys who has stranded them on the bridge so that when all this attack happens, they will be collateral damage. Pete starts taking out the drones. We have a really cool scene where Fury has picked up on the message and figures out that there is actually a drone right in front of him, even though he can't see it. And he has Hill ready and waiting with a rocket launcher so that when that drone appears, she's able to take it out. Because Beck has said, like, I got to kill him. Part of this is that he's got to kill Nick Fury as well. So as all of this is happening, Beck decides he's going to take control of the drones manually and go after Hill and the kids as the rest are targeting Spider-Man. And we get to a scene where the kids have to escape, but Happy's there. He shows up, but then the drones take out the play, and so it's like, all right, we gotta find a better hiding space because we're not going to be able to get out of this situation. So they're heading up into a tower. They're being chased by the drones. This is setting up a kind of a race against time situation for Peter to have to try to take out these drones. He loses control of his web shooters, and he has to try to get through this maze of drones. He finally does, and that leads to our hallway fight scene. But before we get there and get to that final like actual fight, what were your guys' thoughts on Peter having this emotional conversation with Happy and the fight scene of him dealing with all of the drones and all that kind of stuff? Chase, we'll start with you.
Yeah, no, the Happy scene is really strong in this movie. I really like this emotional beat between him and Happy, him creating the new Spider-Man suit, the upgraded suit as they call it. Really like the suit. I like the red and the black that he decides to choose. You know, some people hate there's no blue in it, but I do like this suit. I think it's a very strong suit in the Spider-Man. I just don't like the CGI on it. Like the CGI is kind of hit or miss on some scenes in this movie, but other than that, I think it's a really strong suit. Him building it from the ground up. It's like his vision of a Spider-Man suit. It's not Tony Stark's vision. It's like what Peter Parker wants in the suit. I like the kids getting involved. Mysterio, obviously Samuel L. Jackson has to have an action scene, of course. So got to make sure he has something to do in this movie. So yeah, I like the set. I like the ending scenes a little bit more, but this was a good setup for the final fight.
Sid, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I like more of the ending scenes paying off this stuff. This is kind of more of like setup and everything. The start of our third act and Peter figuring out how he was going to disable, going through everything. Bex realizing that he was inside the illusion, and then the kids in the class not realizing that they were in the basically in the dead zone. So they had to basically get a move in and meet up with Happy.
We get to the confrontation between Pete and Mysterio. Mysterio has been in this hallway overlooking everything the whole time because, as we know, he's not actually ever in that suit. And he tries to go, how are you going to really fight me when you can't see, you don't know what you can trust? And the room goes into an illusion again, but this time Pete's ready for him because now the spider sense is on display. It is tracking everything that's going on. And, oftentimes Colleen has asked me, like, who is better at evading things? Who would be better, Spider-Man or Daredevil? Because she's a huge Daredevil fan. And so we were rewatching this, and I was like, this is the real way Spider-Man. Like, if he doesn't want to get touched, he doesn't get touched. That's just how this works. And he's able to duck, dive, dodge, evade like as if he was playing dodgeball, all of those drones, taking them all out. And lo and behold, we see Mysterio get shot in the background and drop. And so we're like, oh shit, he's down. And they have a little bit of a conversation. And then all of a sudden, Pete just grabs up because Pete realizes that was an illusion of Mysterio, and we get the reveal that Mysterio was standing next to Pete with the gun up against Pete's head. And now we have this final confrontation, this final conversation between them, and it does not really end well for Quentin Beck, because he is still shot, so he is dying, but Pete was able to grab the glasses and get back control of Edith. And now we lead to a very interesting exchange between Peter and Edith, where he's telling her to shut things down, shut the drones down, stop it all, execute all of the safety protocols to get the drones to pull back. Edith does do that. And now he asks her, is this an illusion? Because he can see Beck is on the ground, like bleeding out, and Edith's like, no, this isn't an illusion. He is good and dead. And Pete's like, well, hey, no dirt off my shoulder. This motherfucker, like, he did this to me. It's on him. He goes back down and finds and gets to the rest of the kids who are now safe, and he is able to have an emotional reunion with MJ. And finally, we get the payoff. They do kiss. They do affirm that they like each other. And she's basically saying, like, I wasn't just watching you because, I thought you were Spider-Man, but, I like Peter Parker. And there is this moment where he had told Happy, hey, if I don't make it, I need you to give this necklace to MJ. And MJ has the necklace. It's a little broken, a little worse for wear, but it's still good. It's still the job gets the job done. We from there, Beck we get a cut to Scraps guy, who has been downloading some footage from Beck, and we get to what we think is the end of the movie, where Pete's going to have entering this relationship with MJ. But this is an MCU movie now, and similar to Homecoming, we do have a mid-credit scene and a post-credit scene. The post-credit scene indicates and reveals that Fury and Hill have been Skrulls this whole time, and including Talos, Ben Mendelsohn's character from Captain Marvel, which explains a lot about Nick Fury's behavior throughout the course of this movie and why he was the way he was. As well, like
I'm gonna save you the rest of your breath because this leads to Secret Invasion, and I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah,
okay. I still haven't watched that.
You don't need to.
You don't need to. You shouldn't. I'm gonna be a good friend. Unlike y'all telling me to watch Amazing Spider-Man 2. Don't watch Secret Invasion.
But if we were planning on doing a review of Secret Invasion, then you would tell me to watch it, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Okay. Exactly.
But in our mid-credits scene, we have Pete and MJ swinging through the city. She is losing her mind, and we get one of the best reveals that we could possibly have gotten.
Oh, goosebumps.
There is a Daily Bugle, and there is a J. Jonah Jameson, and it is J.K. Simmons. How they kept this quiet, I don't know, but they did. And he shows up to say, and I love how they similar to how Flash was updated from a physical bully to a social bully, they have updated the concept of the Daily Bugle from a newspaper, which in modern times, print media is basically dying or is dead. And they turned it into more of like a underground website kind of blog newsreel kind of thing. And J. Jonah Jameson has constantly been talking shit about Spider-Man, but we haven't really heard about it because it's been underground. That's how they were able to get away with it. But what makes it pop up? It's the idea that the Daily Bugle has footage of what happened inside that hallway, inside that corridor. And because of what Pete said and how he said it, it's able to be doctored to make it look like Pete was behind the attack the whole time and that Pete killed Mysterio on purpose. Pete was targeting the fellow kids, the school children. And then we get the even bigger reveal that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. And it just shows a picture of his school ID. And Pete's like, what the fuck? And it cuts. Now,
so good.
One last thing before I ask you guys your reaction to the final fight and all that kind of fun and the ending and all this fun stuff. But I don't know if you guys noticed, but when Pete is swinging through the city to get to the date with MJ, one of the buildings they show him swinging past is the penthouse of Norman Osborn and Harry Osborn from the Raimi trilogy. That building, they do show him swinging past that building. But Sid, we'll start with you. What were your thoughts on that actual final fight between Mysterio and Pete, as well as the fallout? He gets the date with MJ, but the date doesn't end that well for him.
Nice little swing into the hallway by Pete, and then seeing Pete, it's a great scene of him going through the different drones, going through the illusion, showing off the Spidey sense, showing off the Spidey the Peter tingle, and then finally beating Mysterio. Mysterio was no match for him once he got through that, honestly. Even the illusion, he was able to see through it and able to get the victory. I feel like the stronger part of this, stronger than the last fight scene, is the epilogue and the post-credit scene. I feel like that's much stronger because you get the payoff of Peter and MJ expressing their feelings for one another and the kiss, regardless of if you were into it the entire movie or not. At this point, you've gone through 2 hours. You're like, okay, it's nice that they finally found their resolution. Yeah. And then you get, Pete in his suit swinging around with MJ, and then you get that post-credit scene. And I remember being in the theater and seeing that post-credit scene, and I got 3 pops out of it. I got a pop for J. Jonah Jameson. I was like, oh, let's go. I had to explain to my girl, because this is one of the rare movies my girl went with me. I was like, yeah, that's the guy from the first movies in the 2000s. Oh man, this is awesome. And then I see the Mysterio footage with the Doctor footage. I was like, oh man, they made Spider-Man into the villain. Damn, that's crazy. We're about to get up, and then they go, because the way they did it was like that was it, and then they say, well, then we also have this footage, and it's that Spider-Man is his real name is Spider-Man's name is Peter Parker. And I was like, oh, everybody in the theater had the that's crazy, and that's how it. Yeah, that was one of the funnest post-credit scenes to see live in a movie theater that I've ever seen from the MCU.
Chase, what were your thoughts on this ending of Spider-Man: Far From Home?
Man, fuck the kids fighting the drones. We didn't even talk about that. That's how much no one cared about that scene. I was like, oh my god, Happy with the shield, acting like he's Captain America. What are we doing?
How does he do that?
Exactly. I did like Spider-Man walking through the illusions, one-upping Mysterio, who's not strong at all. It's always like the running gag whenever you play against Mysterio in the video game. You finally fight him, and then you just punch him once, and he just dies because he's like in Spider-Man 2, the video game. It's so funny when you finally fight Mysterio, get him one-on-one. They have his health bar, and they show he has like 8 health bars, and you're like, oh shit, this is gonna be crazy. And you punch him once, and all 8 health bars just go down to 0. And it's like, oh, he wasn't that bad after all. Like they just hyped him up. So I like that. I love how like the final dialogue is actually like Mysterio gets one last trick, and you know what? A villain finally wins in these movies. He is now the hero, and obviously we've seen that in the next movie how he is proclaimed a hero of it all and stuff. But Mysterio got what he wanted, to be a hero at the end of the day, because these drone attacks and stuff. But yeah, this post-credit scene, this is definitely like top 3 MCU mid-credit scene, I guess you could say. Top 3 MCU mid-credit scene. Like it's up there when we see Thanos goes, fine, then I'll do it myself, and he grabs it and stuff, and the ant playing drums and Ant-Man. I love that scene for no reason. I'm just like, why is the ant playing drums?
I like how that's what you got up there on the list.
he said 2 of the best, and then he said the ant playing drums.
Wait, what is Thanos grabbing the Infinity Gauntlet? The other is an ant playing drums.
You know what was a top tier mid-credit scene, but it doesn't mean shit anymore, is the Kane one. That one was one of my favorites, and then it didn't lead to anything. So it's lost in time. But no, like this mid-credit scene, the fact that no one knew J.K. Simmons was in this movie is absolutely unreal. Like there was no leaks, no Marvel experts or any of these Reddit people that you go for like early movie leaks had this, and that's insane, especially in this time frame. Oh my goodness. When he appeared on the screen, I was just like, what? No way. And I guess J.K. Simmons is always J. Jonah Jameson, no matter what multiverse it is and stuff. But loved it. Absolutely loved that he was in the small bit. And then, like SP3 said, the reveal afterwards, like you thought it was done after that. And then when he reveals that he's Peter Parker, you're like, oh shit. This third movie is going to be wild. And so super duper excited for it and stuff. So yeah, no, top tier post-credit scene up there, like I said, with the ant playing the drums in Ant-Man, one of my favorites. That's all like, what are we talking about? That I don't know why that's the most random post-credit scene I just remember off the top of my head. I just don't get it. Like, but yeah, it's up there with the Thanos scene for sure, where Thanos is like, fine, I'll do it myself.
Well,
and Nick Fury going to Iron Man saying, start the Avengers initiative. That one was
yeah, that's up there.
That was so good. Like you just knew shit. And then was the Captain America him revealing that he's in 2000, like in the late 2000s? Was that a mid-credit scene?
Yeah, that's the first Avenger.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's probably my all-time favorite mid-credit scene, because like just him coming out Times Square, he's like, yeah, like that's my all-time favorite.
He's like, they're about to score a home run. I know, because I was at that game. And she's like, oh, fuck, of all the games that they picked, it was the one he was at. Nobody knew. Oh, no. But we've come to a close on Far From Home, so let's discuss our MVP, LVP. Chase, we'll start with you. Who is your MVP for this movie?
Man, MVP, I gotta give it to MJ, Michelle Jones, Zendaya. I feel she did a great job in this movie. So I honestly would say it's her. I don't have an out of character MVP. There's no RBJ to like get $10 million for no reason. So, but I really felt that MJ was really strong in this movie and stuff, and she is kind of like a driving force in this movie. So I gotta give her MVP.
Sid, who is your MVP for this one?
FOS. Friends of Spider-Man.
Friends of Spider-Man.
Ned and MJ, I felt like their roles got enhanced, and I thought they knocked it out the park. Yeah. Ned as the comic relief, MJ as more of a sidekick role instead of like a central like love interest damsel in distress. I thought it was a different take on MJ that it was refreshing for the film.
I'm gonna go MVP. I like those. I like those. The friend of Spider-Man. I like Zendaya as it. I think I'm gonna go with that as well. Because it's kind of tough to pick Pete just because of how much Pete just messes up throughout the course.
Yes.
I guess like technically speaking, that's all the time in all of these movies. Like that's the undercurrent of Spider-Man. That Pete's gonna make
also true.
mistakes.
Also
But like
yeah.
sometimes like it's the level of the mistake that kind of knocks you out of the MVP running. And I think that's what happens here. And for LVP, like a part of me wants to make it Spider-Man because it's like, bro, you like everybody, how do you just trust people right off the bat? Like just that this person's going to be like on the up and up to the point that you're going to hand over what Tony gave to you. Now I get it. Nick Fury told you that all these people are off-world or can't be contacted or anything like that. But that doesn't mean that you just give this to him. Like, he still has to have a vet. There's still got to be a vetting process. Like, you're not just going to – you just met the dude. Like, why would you be giving this to him a day later? That seems, like just poor decision-making altogether. So I think, like, from a storyline perspective, LVP, I kind of want to give it to Peter. Yeah, you know what? I'll go with Peter. Sid, how about you?
I would go with Peter 9 times out of 10, but the 10th time would realize that that's not Nick Fury. It's Talos. Talos is our LVP of this show, of this movie, because he plays an awful Nick Fury.
He does not pick up. Again, Nick Fury. This version of Nick Fury is also very trusting because it's not actually Nick Fury. But Chase, who's your LVP for this one?
It goes to both of the scrolls, LVP to Talos, and then LVP to whoever decided the final scene of this movie after watching that long ass credits was saying, hey, you know what would be a cool final scene? Ants playing drums? No, the scrolls. No one cares about the scrolls.
No one cares. We've established. We've gone through 3 different movies. No one cares about these scrolls.
Yeah, these scrolls, I don't care. And it caused the biggest headache as a Marvel fan. Well, was he always a scroll? Blah, blah, blah. Shut up. I don't care. Samuel Jackson to me. It's Nick Fury. I don't care about this scroll crap.
All I know about Secret Invasion is that it says that they revealed that Rhodey was a Skrull, and I don't know how long Rhodey was a Skrull for.
Wow.
I don't want to know. Like, I don't need, like, it's just is like, this is a terrible retcon.
Yeah, that's how Terrence Howard changed looks. You know what I'm saying?
You know that would explain it. And Tony Stark just woke up and was like, "I guess he always looked like that."
Well, to be fair, Tony Stark in the first movie was always drunk, so he probably didn't know what his friends looked like at the time. He was probably just like, sure.
Pulled the. I don't see color. It's just.
I don't say that. I mean, yeah, come on, that's you. But yeah, no, LVP like SP3, the fake Nick Fury, Talos just didn't try, and LVP to the Marvel people trying to force the scrolls down our throat. This is just like forcing a mid-Carter, and you're trying to tell me to like this guy, and I'm like, guys, Austin Theory's not working out. He's a good cat. I have nothing wrong with the guy, but can we stop trying to make him the focus? You got Braun Breaker right there. Nah. It's time for Austin Theory. It's time for the scrolls. I'm like, oh god, I don't.
Honestly, like for me, like it's the level of unforgivableness of you get Emilia Clarke to sign on, and you give her that.
Yeah. Maybe that's why Samuel Jackson was just like, fuck it. Whatever. How much did RDJ make the last 10 mil? What about me? 5? Only 3? Whatever. Fuck you guys. My last movie, anyways.
But that brings us to the best part of the review. Thumbs in the middle for Spider-Man Far From Home in 3, 2, 1. Let's see. Using our handy dandy Spider rankings. Chase, how are you feeling about Far From Home?
7.5 out of 10 for me. I do think this is a good movie. The start is just really slow. The random force, Peter loves MJ. Like, I feel like the start of the movie is just like weird and herky jerky. Like I don't know if they were trying to work around Endgame or something. Like maybe that it kind of hurts it a little bit. But the first half of the movie's whatever. But once we get to like them in Europe and then the elemental fight scene, like after the second elemental fight scene onwards, it's a smooth movie. It's actually really good. It's just that first half is just very herky jerky. It's just all over the place. So 7.5. It could be an 8 though for sure because I do like how they write Mysterio in this movie.
Sid, how about you?
Yeah, the whole MJ plot line and just there's a lack of storytelling between Homecoming and Far From Home. I felt like they felt like most people were watching, Infinity War and Endgame instead of telling the story of Peter to us in this film here. So yeah, 7.5 seems about right.
I will go. Let's see. If I gave Homecoming at 8.5, yeah, 7.5 feels on brand. It feels right because it's just like this. That is the thing that upsets me or annoys me. But annoys me the most is that we really don't get why Pete is now suddenly wanting to be with MJ.
Yeah.
And it is just weird because especially if you're like we're doing watching these much more like enough time had passed probably where as soon as the movie starts and he's like I need to figure out how to get with MJ, the majority of the movie audience was just like, well, that makes sense, she's MJ, right?
Yeah.
But like for us watching these movies, back to back to back for these reviews, we are reminded that there was no development of why MJ is now suddenly who he's.
I did extra homework. I watched bits of Infinity War and Endgame for this shit. I was just like, what the? Yeah, because like the thing with Far From Home is this: anytime I have like, and I don't count like me jumping into a movie rewatching it like a full rewatch. But anytime I've jumped in to rewatch it, it's always when the second half is starting. I'm like, yeah, I'll rewatch Far From Home. Like my mom's watching it downstairs, my brother's rewatching it or something. My girlfriend just has it on TV. I'm like, yeah, I'll watch it. But anytime it's the beginning of the movie, I'm like, miss me with that. I ain't watching this shit. Tell me when he fights the fire monster. I can't watch the beginning of this movie again. It's just so rough.
But that brings us to a close for Spider-Man Far From Home. We have one final one to talk about. Kind of the, in a way, like there's a reason why we started from the Raimi trilogy.
It's our No Way Out before WrestleMania Brand New Day.
Before WrestleMania Brand New Day.
No Way Out. I'm not gonna lie. I kept calling on accident Spider-Man No Way Home, No Way Out so many times. I don't know why. My wrestling brain was kicking in there.
But we want to thank you guys for tuning in as always here on the channel. We appreciate the support that you guys have been giving us. Remember to hit that like button, comment, share, tell us who your MVP was, who your LVP was. If you were confused as to why Nick Fury was weird all the way up until the end, if you were as shocked as we were when J. Jonah Jameson popped up on the screen, let us know how you guys felt about the movie. Chase, let the people know where they can find you.
Yeah, you can follow me on X at ChaseOliver68.
And Sid, let us know where they can follow you.
Follow me on the Twitter machine at TrueHillSP3. And True Hill Heat Wrestling and here on True Hill Heat Sports and Entertainment.
And you guys can always catch me here on True Hill Heat Sports and Entertainment doing a whole bunch of different things with Chase. There's all incredible things that we have. There's show reviews, there's movies, there's sports that we talk about. There's all kinds of fun stuff for you guys here. So once again, thank you guys for tuning in. And on behalf of myself, on behalf of Sid, and on behalf of Chase, this has been the True Hill Heat Sports Entertainment review of Spider-Man Far From Home. Remember, take care of yourselves and each other, and we'll catch you all later.